Home Sports Johann Zarco Monster Yamaha Tech 3 shocked for a last-minute pole position in the Motul Grand Prix of Japan, his second in the Premier class, taking the honor late in the session and no further laps able to challenge the Frenchman. Danilo Petrucci Octo Pramac Racing took second as another to navigate the wet but drying track conditions well, with reigning champion Marc Marquez Repsol Honda team completing the front row after gambling on slicks at the end of the session. With a dry line beginning to appear by the start of Motul Q2 session, it was the KTMs of Pol Espargaro and Bradley Smith moving through to join the top 10 in the shootout, and Valentino Rossi movie star Yamaha Motul sending immediate shockwaves through the field as he headed out on slicks straight away. That would prove the wrong decision, and the 9-time world champion was then forced back into switch. Marquez, meanwhile, was 1.6 seconds clear at the top when he decided to try slicks, despite a moment on the wet tires on what would prove his fastest lap. That left a target on P1 for Mini in the field, still pushing hard on wets, with Zarco best able to take the challenge to the reigning champion and Petrucci then taking second, with Marquez therefore locking out the front row. Heading the second row and fulfilling his Friday target is Alex Espargaro Aprilia Racing Team Gresini, who just missed out on lining up further forward in the latter stages of his last lap, with Jorge Lorenzo Ducati team taking fifth on his final push and Dani Pedrosa Repsol Honda team locking out row 2. The KTMs were next up, with Pol Espargaro Red Bull KTM Factory Racing initially taking a provisional front row before times began to further tumble, and by the flag it was teammate Bradley Smith who just pipped the Spaniard. The Austrian factory machines will start 7th and 8th, Espargaro only 0.034 in arrears. Title challenger Andrea Dovizioso Ducati team had a more difficult session and ended Q2 in P9, with Team Suzuki X-Stars Alex Rins and Andrea Iannone taking 10th and 11th. Rossi, after his early gamble on slicks, lines up in P12. After going third fastest in Q1, Loris Baz Real Avancha Racing will line up behind the 9-time world champion, and just ahead of the second factory Yamaha Maverick Vinales, who had a tough Saturday. Cal Crutchlow LCR Honda starts 15th, after missing out on Q1 following a moment at the final corner on his last lap.